Hi guys, this is Ranbir Kapoor. Catch me exclusively on Sit With Hitlist, only on midday.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Sit With Hitlist, our incredible podcast series where we featured some of the finest actors so far in Bollywood, and we have perhaps the finest of his generation right next to us, Ranbir Kapoor. Thank you very much for coming.
Before we start, I really want to know who all have been on this podcast.
Okay, Amir Khan,
Okay.
Tabu,
Wow.
Ajay Devgan,
Wow.
Akshay Kumar.
Wow.
Do you feel like you belong there?
Yeah, I mean, this is a bit daunting, but thank you for having me.
I'll tell you why it's daunting for you, okay? And I'll start with the story. The first time I was trying to get in touch with you was August 2016 for this paper, for Midday, because we're launching a new product, a new paper, and we wanted to feature you on the cover, okay? Now, I got in touch with Ayan first, Ayan Mukherjee, because I've known him from much before he became a director. And then he, so asked him to put in a word, then he sent you a message, then we exchanged a few messages, and I was trying to convince you, and then you suddenly disappeared. Like there was no reply. You obviously don't like being interviewed, do you?
No, I don't. I don't know where it comes from. I guess it comes from being an introvert. When I don't really have a movie to talk about, that's the purpose. I feel really naked, to be asked, because I find it hard to even lie about certain things. And I've realized also with you, especially, you really go quite deep into the psyche of people and stuff. So, I'm happy kind of staying away. But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to disappear on you. It's just, I just don't want you to have any expectations from me for an interview ever.
Right. Well, we have very high expectations. So far, it's been pretty good. And I sort of agree with you on that point, Ranbir, because I've been through almost all your interviews in the past few years, and you're probably the most, you should have like a serious, like a meme that says, Ranbir honestly says this and honestly says that. It's an incredible number of things you've said. You've spoken about, you've gone deep into your...
Sure you want to touch upon those topics?
I am going to touch upon them briefly, okay? Your parents' marital problems, the fact that you were, in a staircase in your house, while your parents are fighting. You've spoken about how you had a drinking problem because you'd be chilling at home and then you'd just be drinking because you had no work around the time because Jagga Jasoos was being shot forever. You've spoken, in fact, in the early years, you've spoken about being a stoner, right? And then your dad's lawyer called you up saying you'll go to jail. Are you more careful now?
This is the moment I'm going to give you tears, okay? Wait for it. This takes a while. You tell the director, wait, it's coming. Which is my camera? That one? Yeah, those were hard times, man. Yeah.
Are you more careful now?
I mean, I would like to be.
Are you going to play this character throughout?
You want me to stop? I can stop.
You stop now.
Okay.
Cut.
No, I don't want to be careful. I want to be honest. It's always nice, when somebody is talking to you for the hard work you put in. It's always nice when somebody is recognizing that and you can elaborate on certain things which is work related. Kya hua tha ki, when I started my career, there was so much of spotlight on my personal life. It's not about my parents or but about my partner. So I got really scared. It kind of made me cautious. That okay, maybe I overspeak too much. Maybe I don't know how to lie. I don't know how to manipulate the situation. But yeah, if somebody wants to know about my life, and I think if it kind of will change something in their life, or will inspire them, or will learn something from my mistake, then of course I'll talk. I mean, I don't have any hindrance why I should not.
Right, because we finally did meet. This was right before the release of Jagga Jasoos, and the movie released right after. What did you make of the reaction of the film?
Disappointed for various reasons. One, because of collaborating with a director like Anurag Basu. He worked his ass off, man. 3 years he worked. Me and Katrina on other projects also, but like Basu was just on this. We kind of also, to reach that acceptance is very hard after a film releases and doesn't work, that it wasn't good. Usually when you in your head think, yeah, we made a good film and the audience rejects it, you feel, okay, maybe they didn't get it. Maybe it was, that thing you keep hearing, it was ahead of its time and stuff like that. That's not true. A good film is a good film, and that'll always stand. That'll always stand. So it was very disappointing. But thankfully, as actors, you have other projects where you're already surrendered yourself to. You're already on a different journey. So that helps you kind of forget it also. Also the fact that my personality is a little of a detached person, so I'm not really attached to what the the final verdict of the film is. But it was sad. It was sad that a film like that didn't work.
Because right before that you'd done, not right before, but you'd done Barfi with Anurag, and you'd also spoken about the fact you had no idea what was going on in that movie, and then everyone loved it, right?
Yeah.
And you'd also spoken about how you had no idea what was going on in Jaga either. Yeah. So it could have gone either way?
I think so. I think because Barfi was made in a certain way where we had no idea. Me and Priyanka and Ilyana used to come on set, and Dada used to tell us कि आज क्या मन करता है तेरा, चलो आज बर्फी, झिलमिल and Shruti eat pani puri. So then we used to kind of improvise a scene because we didn't have a script on paper.
There was no script, right?
There was a story, there was heart, and there were character synopsis. And when we saw the film, all three of us were like, wow, like this is something great we were part of. And we didn't feel that while we were doing the film. So we thought, chalo, if we pull that off, we'd probably pull Jaga Jasoos off also. But I guess, that didn't happen. But it was the same, it was made in the same way. It's just that in Jaga Jasoos, I think he took a lot. Being a musical, father-son, character stammers, it was episodic, he was a detective. There was too much going on, so I think there were some genius parts to it. But on the whole, it didn't really come together.
But by the time Jaga Jasoos was coming out, which is true for even now, Sanju is coming out, but you're already into your next film. Right. It seemed like you were in your happiest phase. You spoke about how, you feel alive and all those things, which was not true for the year before that. You felt confused. You were in a confused state of mind. That's what you were talking about back then in any case, right? And that's because you were working with Rajkumar Hirani at the point. Yeah? Yeah,
that's, when you work with a big director, a very successful director, it's always like a cushioned pillow. Somebody has your back, because even, when the Sanju, say for example, when the Sanju promos came out or the posters come out, and whatever love we've received for the film, it's because of Rajkumar Hirani's fan following, Sanjay Dutt's fan following, and that kind of...
And your fan following, come on,
yes,
I mean,
of course,
you're doing the Amitabh Bachchan thing of always like playing it down, no?
Not, but the reality check of I'm getting a lot because of them also. Right. I haven't received a reaction like this for any of my films. But yeah, the time when my films weren't working, when I was constantly hitting failure, you don't know why it's happening because it's not in your control. To me, Bombay Velvet, Jaga Jasoos, or a film like Tamasha were entertaining films to me. That's why I was a part of it. Nobody put a gun to my head. They were my choices. So you kind of, you need to take a step back and really like dig deep into yourself and ask yourself certain questions, what's happening, what's going wrong. And most of the time you don't find an answer because it requires patience. There are a lot of people in the industry who start giving you their notions. You should do this or you should do that, or commercial picture kya karo, body bana, ye kar, wo kar. So it confuses you. But you need to take everything. Suno sabki, lekin karo apni. So that was that little confused phase of mine, but I'm feeling better now.
But you felt safe with Raju being there. Of course. So correct me if I'm wrong, there was a story back in the day when Lage Raho Manna Bhai had released. Your dad had taken you to Raju's house and said, you know what, you got to work with this guy. And you were considered for 3 Idiots. You were also talking about PK as well. Of course, you made a cameo towards the end.
It's my biggest hit.
It's your biggest hit. Clearly, Amir Khan screwed you over, right?
Not at all.
He did all those films. Those are the biggest films of those times which you should have been doing at the time.
No, I didn't deserve those films. They were Amir sir's films from the beginning. I think Raju sir was also kind of not sure, if a film about like college students. So he needed an actor to play 20 as well as 40 because there were 2 spans. So he felt probably if he casted an older actor, it would be easier for him to look younger than a younger actor to look older, which I totally get.
Which is not true. It's much easier to play an older person. Yeah.
Let's just put it this way: I didn't deserve 3 Idiots. Okay. At the place in my, where I was in my life, I didn't deserve that film. And firstly, that story about post Lagero. Actually, my father went to his house. Okay. And
he didn't take you along.
I wasn't there. And what I heard is that as he saw his mother, he fell flat on her feet and said, your son's a genius, and I hope that he works with my son at some point in his life. Because my father is like that. When he likes something, he just overdoes it. He just wants to like show everything. So that's what happened. Yeah. And PK is my biggest hit.
Right. No, but I mean, I'm presuming Sanju might change that. But if one were to look at the process that you went through for the film, the sense one gets is because you spent a whole year on this movie, which is not the time that was taken to shoot, like you weren't shooting every day of the year, that you would spend a lot of time in Raju's office, or so he says, and just soaking it in, just being there, not necessarily like doing your lines, but just seeing the process, of the film itself, being part of it, even when you're not the actor on a shoot in his office. You did something similar with Rockstar as well. You spent 45 days in Rahman's studio, right? That you tend to do these things, do you?
Yeah, it helps me. It's my method. There are a couple of things that I need to do before I start a film. One is completely marry the director's mind, because as an actor, I'm just kind of channelizing what he has written, and I don't have that experience that he has that I can just do it on my own. I need to really steal it from him. So marrying the director's mind is very important to me. Second is to understand the text. It's so important for an actor to really understand the material. There are certain nuances or certain beats that a director and a writer write that we on the surface have superficially read on set and perform, and there are a lot of things that you miss out. So that has been my process all the time. With Sanju, of course, it was like a dream come true, working with Rajkumar Hirani on the Sanjay Dutt biopic. Films like this don't come that often in actors' lives. So I understood that, okay, now this is a film which you need to work your ass off, because you need to.
Sure.
And I think, Mayank, it's very rare that an actor feels inspired towards a film. It's not that every film gives you that inspiration, the material or the character, and this is one film that did. I think post Rockstar, this was that film which gave me that inspiration to, okay, here is a character I can really bite into, there was so much in it for me to do that you get excited.
But it's also a character you've seen like all your life. You live in Pali Hill, he lives in Pali Hill. In fact, if you want to, we looked at even the meta side of it, right? Or forget meta, like the tabloid side of it, right? 70 years. If you'll see tabloid stories of 70 years, there was Nargis, there was Raj Kapoor, they're iconic, superstars. They were also like, partners in a sense of business partners, but also linked to each other. And then few generations down the line, there's Nargis's son being played by Raj Kapoor's grandson. That's kind of crazy, right?
It's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, if you think about it. But Sanju always used to tell me, because when I used to work out in his gym, I remember during Barfi, and I'm sure some of you all know this story, I've said it so many times. He used to really tease me a lot कि क्या picture कराई बर्फी, इसके बाद क्या करेगा लड्डू, पेड़ा, body बना, be a man, hero one, but shower a lot of love and a lot of affection towards me. And he used to always tell me कि मेरे पर अगर एक film बनेगी, then I would really like you to do it.
Really?
Yeah. He and his
wife. So he offered
both.
You that role, like
he did, and this was like a couple of years back, before Raju Seven thought about it. And when the script came to me, or when the offer came to me, or the script, I wasn't really excited about it, because I was like, I can't do that. I'm not him. My personality is so different. He's this larger than life, macho, alpha male kind of guy. And how can you make a biopic on an actor who's still so relevant, who's still working in films? How will I be able to convince people that it's me? But once I read the script, my perception of Sanjay Dutt completely changed, because it was a different Sanjay Dutt. It wasn't the Sanjay Dutt that any of us know. We know him through the tabloid, through the films he's done, or the controversies he's been in. But what was really going on in his mind and his family's mind, and what they were going through, it was quite intriguing and exciting, just to read his life.
But that's how rockstar life should be, right? I mean, they're supposed to be slightly, more rockstar-ish in that sense.
True. I mean, there was also dialogue in Rockstar, no, कि जब दिल टूटेगा तभी झनकार निकलेगी अंदर से, and सबकी लाइफ में कोई ना कोई कंट्रोवर्सीज होती है, कोई ना कोई दिक्कतें होती हैं, वरना मतलब वो कुछ कर नहीं पाएगा, वो संगीत नहीं निकलेगा अंदर से. And I think that really holds true to Sanjay Dutt's life.
And many other lives. Was Yash Chopra making a biopic on Raj Kapoor and Nargis's life?
How do you know this?
I just researched.
Yes, there were certain talks. But I think I believe that if you're doing an actor's biopic, it has to open certain classified files or certain areas in that actor's life where...
Or any public figure's life.
Any public figure's life, which is honest. You can't highlight only the God side of a person. You have to highlight the human side of a person, the flaws, the mistakes. I don't think my family would allow it to make a biopic on my grandfather. But yes, there was interest that ESG had showed towards me.
In the same way that someone from Kishore Kumar's family did not allow you to make, right? Same thing happened?
A lot of, actually, when we were doing the Sanjay Dutt biopic, there were so many people who called and asked if they were in the biopic or mentioned, which Raju sir had to clear out. No, because it's tricky. You can't mention somebody's name; they'll stop your film, from releasing and stuff like that. So in the reality of things, we had to also fictionalize certain names. We could not give them the real names, and most of them were women.
Right. But you've spoken about how you really want Sanjay Dutt to like this film. Does Sanjay Dutt did he make an effort to make sure that you do this, you crack this part? Did he do things, or I know that you spoke to him through the shooting of the film. You would call him up once in a while.
I think that's great effort to actually go back to certain emotions which he went through. It wasn't about like calling me and saying that do this or do that. Whenever I used to call him, he very gracefully and used to open his heart out. Okay, what do you want to know? What I was feeling during the drug phase, the jail phase, the day when my mother died, the day my father died. And stuff like this is very hard to talk about, and especially to a guy who's, just acting in his biopic. It's not that he has some blood relationship with me, but he was very graceful. He just kind of just opened his heart out to me whenever I needed to.
Did he teach you the walk?
No, he didn't. And you can't mess with his walk, you can't mess with his hairstyles, you can't mess with his fashion sense or the way he dances. Or his body,
the way he talks, right?
He talks, or his body. Right. These are certain things which is etched in the audience's mind. And they'll be very disappointed if they don't see all of that, So you have to be you have to tread carefully. Okay, yeah, do it, but don't do it so much also that it kind of looks like mimicry and buffoonery. You have to just remind them of it. But they are also aware that it's not Sanjay Dutt, it's another actor playing Sanjay Dutt, so it's cool.
There's a guy called Dr. Sanket Bhosle. Did you meet him? Because he does Sanjay Dutt like no one else.
Yeah, I mean, he does an amazing job in mimicking Sanjay Dutt. Right. So I did meet him, when in the initial few days, just to kind of, understand what he thinks of Sanjay Dutt. But in that meeting itself, I realized that, okay, this is not the path I want to take. This is, he does a comic version of Sanjay Dutt, a comic version of drunk Sanjay Dutt. Right. And I'm not playing drunk Sanjay Dutt. I am playing Sanjay Dutt from the age of 20 all the way to now. It's a very human side of Sanjay Dutt. So I understood in that meeting, okay, maybe this is not the path I have to go, and maybe I can't go to anybody, and I'll have to discover this on my own and discover my own way of expressing this character.
Right, because that's the thing about superstars, right? And you mentioned this before about how that's also essential to a superstar, is certain tics, certain mannerisms that then becomes mimicry for some people who love that particular actor, begin to talk like him. It's always been the case through the ages, right? Have you found someone who mimics you really well? Have you reached that point where people can do a Ranbir Kapoor really well?
I've seen, Sanket also has done me and he's pretty good. But I feel, as the years have passed in Indian cinema, a lot of stylized acting has diminished. It's become more natural, more spontaneous, and it's very hard to mimic spontaneity. And I think that holds well with especially my generation of actors. It's everyone's quite relatable in that sense. But I think the way someone talks or someone dances, you can, and I think Sanket has done a good job for sure. Yeah.
So when you look at Sanket or someone else mimicking you, what is the first thing that you notice that they pick about you?
When somebody mimics you, it means you're successful.
Sure.
Then you're doing something right. So your first initial reaction is, that doesn't sound like me, or do I sound that bad? And second reaction always is, wow, that's pretty cool. Somebody is mimicking me. I have tried to mimic Amitabh Bachchan from Agnipath, to Hrithik Roshan from Koi Mil Gaya, to Shah Rukh Khan from Dilwale Dulhaniya, to Salman from Hum Aapke Kaun, Amir Khan from Rangila. And never thought that a day would come where somebody would.
Are you good at it?
I suck at it.
You suck at it.
And that's the problem, Mayank, because I'm not good at mimicry. And there are a lot of actors, and it comes very effortless from them, they hear something, they just pick it up. But it's hard. It's hard for me to mimic someone because I don't have that talent to modulate my voice like the actor. I don't have the talent to study each mannerism and get it pat. Like in Tamasha, I had to do the Devanand mimicry, and for that I actually took a lot of classes because I knew I could not do it. But still, it still seems caricaturish. It doesn't seem natural.
Right. Because that's the other thing about Stardom, right? Is the fact that there are rivalries and one is pitted against the other. I genuinely believe the reason why the three Khans are so huge is because they're always being pitted against each
Absolutely.
other. Is this against this against? There's no chance for someone else to enter that zone, and so they feed off each other. In your generation now, the big story is Ranbir versus Ranveer, right? Would that be correct to say?
I mean, it'll be pompous for me to say that, yes, that's the right...
It'd be pompous for you to compare yourself with Ranveer Singh?
To anybody.
Okay.
But yes, and I think I have a great opponent, if I can say.
Oh, nice.
Because when I see his films, I get inspired. I think he's really quite magical on screen, and whatever he does. And yeah, I think I will help him to do better, and he'll help me to do better. There are times that his films will really, turn the box office cash register ringing, and there were times when I would want to beat that. And I think it's not only Ranveer and me, now there is also Varun, there is Tiger, so many. When I started out, there were like probably 2 or 3 young actors, now there are 15. But I'm really excited with this media competition with that.
Why media competition? It's a genuine thing. If it's about box office, then it's 300 crore right now. You have to beat that.
But I think it's more kind of exaggerated by the media. It's not really how I think sitting at home. Acha, Ranveer ne aisa kiya, to mujhe ye karna padega. But I think it's exciting that this media created competition will be exciting.
No, I think some of this creation may also have to do with the fact, and it's again the typical cliche of show business. So, for instance, everyone refused Zanjeer, and Amitabh Bachchan was born. Everyone, or well, at least Amir Khan refused Dar, and that pretty much made Shah Rukh Khan. And you refused Band Baja Barat, and there is Ranveer Singh in front of us.
Actually, my dad used to say this when I started, and I was very choosy about the films I was doing, and he never understood this side to an actor where he's doing one film at a time. He comes from the school of thought where you have to do work all the time, do 3, 4 releases a year. And then he told me, you have to understand that every film you say no to, you're creating another actor behind you who's going to get better than you. But to be honest, Mayank, that's destiny, right? Like, I can't do every film that's offered to me. And I don't have any regrets. I don't have regrets that, I didn't do this film and some other actor came and...
Why couldn't you do Band Baja Barat?
For various reasons,
You don't remember now, or...?
I don't. Even if I do, I think it's quite silly, to kind of cite your reasons why you haven't done some film and stuff like that. It's unfair. It's unfair to the film.
Why couldn't you do Dil Dhadakne Do?
Again, I fell into this rut of not rut, but like I was repeating my directors. So I'd already committed to Basu, Imtiaz, and Ayan, and it just didn't fit into my schedule and how she wanted to make the film and when she wanted to make it. So that's the actual reason. There's no other reason.
But are you getting out of that particular clique or circle, as it were?
Well, not consciously getting out of that, but I'm also, getting some exciting offers from outside, which I'm really excited about. And exciting, because what happens is that you lose spontaneity with the same director if you work with them over and over again. They get bored of you. They know your expressions.
They get bored. What I was talking about Jagga Jasus to you, and what the reaction was. Your dad only bajawed that poor director. Yeah, said, "Kaisa picture banata hai?" Come on. Was that conscious? Like, did you ask him to not say this in public? Poor guy must be feeling terrible, no?
Of course, I felt really bad for the Dada, and he said something about Pritam Dada also. And I only have empathy towards Dada and Pritam Dada about it. But to be honest, I have not even looked at my father's eye color. I always look down and speak to him, and I only say yes. So it's very hard for me to confront him on these things. But I always pass on a harsh message through my mom. Okay, what is this here? This is not right and stuff like that.
Do you do that very often? You see a film and it's a young director, first film, nobody knew about him. I don't even think it was a huge success. Of course, it was a sleeper hit in its own right, but not like a big film where the whole film industry would line up outside his door. You just randomly called him up?
Yeah, it's the only time I've ever called a director.
Okay.
Of course, when I like a film, I always congratulate. I think it's very important for the fraternity to kind of celebrate some other film's success, if it's the actor's performance or the director's work. But with Love, I remember I was on a flight to London, and I saw it on flight, and as I landed in London, I messaged him and said, hey, I really enjoyed your film. This is Ranbir, and I would love to collaborate with you on a film. And then we left it at that. Then over the years, we spoke about various subjects. He, in passing, also narrated the Sonu Ki Titu Ki Sweetie ka subject to me.
Did he offer that to you?
Not that he directly offered to me, but we were just talking about films, And finally, he narrated this film to me, which I absolutely loved. It's a all-out, no-hold-barred, plucking, ballsy entertainer, if I can say so. It's not the kind of films that Love has made. It's not his... what's his genre? Like, what do you call this genre?
Sex comedies.
Yeah, it's not that. I would say it's more like a dramatic love story.
Okay. Did you make a conscious choice not to be that macho hero, and maybe this is that particular role that you picked up?
To be honest, I can't be that macho hero. I don't have that personality. Salman Khan or Ajay Devgan or Akshay Kumar bring macho-ness to any part.
But when you play a role like the one you did in Ye Jawani Hai Diwani, and I think you mentioned this before somewhere about how a part like that, you have to actually just roughly bring your own personality into a role. That's really what Shah Rukh Khan's been doing throughout. So it's actually, it makes sense for the audience to believe that that's really Shah Rukh Khan, because he's carrying on with his basic mannerisms. He's basically playing himself in a certain way. Of course, he's playing a role. And that's what you find easier to do. Is that what it is?
No, that's so true. And today, if the love that Salman Khan or Shah Rukh Khan have on screen, and with whatever part they play, is that people see them a lot in their parts, and they're very easy with who they are. They wear it like it's like wearing a t-shirt. They don't have to kind of put on or play any character. People love them for who they
show
are.
up, right?
And that's hard for me to do. It's easier to have crutches of a character like Barfi and say Wake Up Sid or Rocket Singh, because you're hiding behind a character. You're channelizing something emotionally through something else. But to be yourself is very hard, and the kind of say charm that Shah Rukh Khan had during Dilwale Dulhaniya Le Jayenge or Salman Khan had during Hum Aapke Kaun, all their blockbuster films is very hard to do. It's very hard, and I find it hard to do. And I think a lot of actors from my generation will also find it hard. Because not many of those films are made today. Today a lot of character-driven films are made. Character-driven films are more exciting because you feel like, okay, I can be this and be that and be this. But to somehow just continue being you is another challenge, which I need to get more comfortable with.
You just have to be more exciting yourself.
Yeah,
Huh?
I guess, you have to believe in yourself.
Right.
I guess Ye Jawani Hai Diwani also came with Ayan's belief in me. Ayan saw a certain side to me, what he sees in life, and he's like, okay, I want to capture this. I don't want you to be anybody else. Yeah, the character is this. These are his parents. This is what he thinks about life, about ambition and all. But I want you to feel these things.
So basically, you're aloof. Is that it? Because that's what the character roughly is. You can disappear. You can do your own thing, but also, of course, have friends.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
That's what it is.